The views and opinions expressed in the following paid program are those of the host, callers, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this station, its management, or owners. Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, previous president of JBL Financial Services. Well, you're going to be president, babe.
We got to come up with a better name for you, not previous president, like President Emeritus. I don't know what that one means, though.
I'll let you pronounce it.
Well, they always call you Mr. President once you've been president. Well, every time you get introduced, it's Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. And just so folks know, I am a 40-plus year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined by my kids, my staff, my crew, the president of our company, my oldest prodigal daughter, Erin Lapidus, who also is a certified financial planner and wealth manager, and her husband, Rob Markham, our life insurance fixed annuity specialist, as well as being a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager.
Is it really like you're my staff now?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm on the rolls now.
You're on the roll.
I'm just an employee.
Serve at the pleasure of the president.
Oh, man.
That is going to be great. Well, we still help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan that has several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one they can count on, so they can do all the things they'd like to do in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches or charities, whoever it might be, with Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Folks, again, good morning. Thanks so much for tuning into our 2-hour show. We always have a lot of things on our mind. What's more important is what's on yours. Our phone lines are open. Give us a call, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And as a reminder, all of our clients are folks like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And as Aaron mentioned, we create a game plan for them with the goals of having a fun, financially successful retirement.
That's right. And there are many ways that you can stay in touch with us during the week outside of our 2-hour-long Saturday show. You can log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a Contact Us button. You can request a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both. You can ask us a question. If you happen to get it in during the show, we might be able to answer it live on the air. We promise not to use your name if you'd prefer that we not. You can also click on the lower left-hand side of the screen in the pop-up box that appears. It says sign up for our monthly newsletter. We do send that out every single month by email. We also keep it archived on our website so you can take a look at past issues. And shockingly, we're right in the middle of May already.
There's more May behind us than in front of us, which is amazing when you think about it. But we got some great articles that you're going to love in the May 2024 newsletter. The first one being, when do people start collecting Social Security? If you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know when to elect your Social Security benefit is paramount to your overall retirement game plan. We have discussed this many times because of all the variables that go into that decision. For instance, are you going to continue to work after electing your benefit? Is creating a larger potential benefit for your wife or husband important to you? Do you have any health concerns that need to be taken into consideration? All these questions factor into how we bring your Social Security election into your retirement game plan. Having said all that, this article has a great infographic that highlights when most people decide to elect their benefit. And I'll give you a little spoiler alert. The two most popular election times are at 62 and full retirement age. I thought more people would be holding out for the 70, but
see, that's a perfect example of when you consume a lot of what they would call conventional wisdom, or all of the financial articles that are published, or you're listening to potentially talking heads talking about financial planning that don't necessarily have clients. Of course, waiting as long as you can, having the highest benefit sounds like the best deal, but is it really? Because part of what you're doing is you are giving up benefit every year that you are eligible and waiting to take benefit. So where's the trade-off there? And then secondarily, for many people, Social Security still makes up between 1 and 2/3 of their income need in retirement. So being able to retire comfortably, they may be relying on their Social Security benefit. And there is nothing wrong with that, because if you can create a comfortable cash flow in retirement by electing a year or two earlier than you planned, there shouldn't be any harm in that.
no harm at all.
Collect early, collect often.
Absolutely. And our next article, is tipping fatigue wearing you out? You know, traditionally, tipping has been a way of rewarding workers for providing good or even excellent service, but the norms around tipping are changing. And if you recently felt more pressure to tip, you are not alone. According to a recent survey, almost 75% of adults said that tipping was expected in more places today than it was 5 years ago. And it's even acquiring such names as tip creep or tipflation.
They always have to come up with new names for things.
Well, I thought the tipflation one was a nice one. Yeah.
I can't believe that there's a little infographic with this one too. I can't believe that only 78% of people tip from getting a haircut. I mean, I think that should be like a solid 100%. It is a sweater that you wear every day on your head.
What if someone gave you, you got walked out of there with like the Super Bowl haircut? Like, you're not leaving a tip.
Okay, less the outliers. I'm just assuming good.
A lot of people end up in one of those chop shops. And then it's just, if you're walking out of there and it's hat month, like, how are you leaving a tip?
Okay, fair enough. Then I'll give it 95%. Like, it should be really high.
No, in all fairness, that's the one area where I tip generously, because, I find with hairdressers,
you can't wear a hat in the office, man.
Not only that, but if you acquire a reputation as tipping well at the place that you go to often, the hairdresser will not let you get out of the chair, looking like who did it and ran. So it's just a little
tip.
Yeah, my brother was a hairdresser for a long time, so he's kind of got me in the habit. Like, if you're a bad tipper, you're going to get bad service. So yeah,
that's threatening.
But having said all that, this article lays out some helpful tipping guidelines that you may want to incorporate. And you have to remember, tipping is always voluntary. It's up to you to decide who, where, and how much to tip.
Very good.
And our next article, how biases can affect investment decisions. Most economic models are based on the premise that people make rational decisions to maximize economic and financial benefits, but people are not robots. And while we like to think that facts, reason, and logic rule the day, emotions, especially fear, excitement, and greed, are also at work. This article highlights some of the most common biases that can affect financial decision making. And I just highlighted a few. I think the one that stands out to me and I just keep going back to it, is confirmation bias. You already have an idea in your head of how it is, and now you've heard someone say the same thing, so therefore it's like right away I'm on the right track, because after all, who's watched it on the TV said the same thing.
And what a timely thing to consider in an election year, right? When we're sitting listening to everyone talk about what they know and what they're going to do and how they know it's the right answer. I'm sure there's a lot of confirmation bias out there amongst us all.
Sounds good.
And our last article. Do you need to adjust your tax withholding?
There is still time.
Now that the tax filing deadline is behind us, now may be a good time to adjust your income tax withholding. Tax withholding is a balancing act. Withhold too much and you will receive a refund, or as my wife likes to say, you just gave the U.S. government an interest-free loan. Withhold too little and you'll be left with a tax bill. This article lays out some reasons you may want to change your tax withholdings and how to go about doing it.
Excellent.
And that is the May 2024 Coach's Corner. So be sure to check that out, and be sure to be on the lookout for the June one, which will drop in a couple weeks.
That's right. And the way you do that is, if you already are signed up for our newsletter, just wait for it to appear in your inbox. But if you haven't signed up, there's still time. jblfinancial.com. Click on that box that says sign up for our monthly newsletter, and Rob will make sure it gets out to you every single month.
Yes, I will.
And don't forget, our phone lines are open. We love to hear from you. 314-931, excuse me, 5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line.
We've got a great one to kick the show off.
Speaking of the text line, our first texter writes, what are the rules and regulations to contribute to your IRA, age, amount, and time?
So to start, the IRA contribution limit for 2024 is $7,000 if you are under the age of 50. If you are over the age of 50, you have the opportunity to add a catch-up contribution, bringing your total to $8,000 for the year. There are income limitations on IRA contributions if you already have access to a retirement plan through work, so you'll want to confirm those before making any additional contributions. There are no age limitations on IRA contributions. However, there are limitations in the sense that you can only contribute earned income. So you need to have wages in order to make contributions either to a traditional or a Roth IRA. The contribution limits are the same, and the time is each calendar year you have the opportunity to make these contributions. This is one of the things that you can do retroactively up until April 15th, or when you file your taxes. If you haven't quite, for example, in 2024, if you weren't sure what your income was going to be, or you obviously hadn't gone to the accountant or tax preparer until after the year concluded, they might let you know if you make an additional contribution, or this is how much you should contribute of the maximum allowable amount. You can do that up until you file your taxes. There are some things that you cannot do outside of a tax year. For example, charitable contributions can't be made outside of the tax year to be credited to a previous tax year. So again, you'll want to check with your tax professional before making any decisions or not making any decisions.
I was just going to say, for the business owners out there, if you want to do your relatives a favor, you have a nephew or a grandson or a granddaughter, put a broom in their hands. Then now they have earned income. We always need good floor sweepers, and it'd be
good floor sweepers.
No, it's just a way of building that war chest for them at an early age, taking advantage of compounding interest.
Absolutely. And again, we do appreciate your text at 84126 and your phone calls 314-931-5877. We always have a lot of things on our mind. What's more important is what's on yours. So give us a call today. We'd love to hear from you. I'm going to switch it up on the kiddies, our format today.
Switching up the format.
Well, what's nice is, honey, that your sister's coming into town today.
Do I ever?
And both your uncles are going to be in town.
It's going to be great.
Family time. Enough to throw up, of course. But
we always have family time here at the office,
yes,
Monday through Saturday.
Yes, we certainly do. And so I thought it would be appropriate to maybe have a little discussion about what I like to call the rules of love and money. And this really does primarily come into view when we're talking about money matters between parents and children, or adults and people think that they're adults.
Can I read the first rule? Because it's so great.
Thank you. Yes. These are the rules that my children live by.
And this one just always stuck with me because it just rings so true. You are not an adult until you owe someone money and pay them back on time.
Wow.
Awesome.
It's like ringing through the years.
Well, sure. I mean, I
Sure.
think we're talking about basic financial responsibility, which is why I would not want to have a discussion about loan forgiveness, because
I don't know what that is.
it's the ultimate in disrespecting money.
Ultimate.
You're an adult, etc. But anytime that you're doing, as a parent, if you're lending money, you really have to ask yourself some questions. And these are tough ones. And certainly we do these during coaching sessions with clients, and this happens all the time. The first question I have is, do you trust this person that you love to repay the loan? It's a big deal. Do you really believe they're going to repay you?
I believe they will, but...
Well, I think you need to do that. The second thing is, do they have the financial means to meet those payments that you might have for them, whether it's an annual payment or monthly, whatever it would be. And really, are you setting them up to succeed or to fail? And we've seen this situation many, many, many times where clients called us and said, Johnny and Susie, his girlfriend, are living in the basement.
They need to get out.
We need to get them out. We're going to go buy a house so they can live in it.
It's going to be a good investment.
Thank you. Exactly. It's going to be a very good investment, and they'll pay us back, and this will be great, and it's going to work out great, and we're going to have our privacy back. Well,
are you setting them up to succeed or to fail? Because are they prepared to take on the obligation of home ownership? There's a lot that goes into being a homeowner that
Right.
doesn't go into being a renter, even if they're not renting, quote unquote, from you because they're in the basement. Maybe they're in an apartment now. There's a different level of responsibility, of financial obligation and requirement that comes with owning a home. Are they prepared for that? Do they want that?
Are they, diligent in managing the bills they already have? I mean, if they're struggling with a cable bill or a cell phone bill or car insurance, new debt obligations may not be something that they can handle. And that's, you have to be clear-eyed when looking at these things.
Again, getting back to, you want to set them up to succeed, not to fail, which is good. And then the other thing would be is, if you are lending money, do those obligations, that loan that you're making, have terms? And is it in writing?
Have you all agreed to a specific set of terms, if it's a repayment schedule, if it's an interest amount?
Well, it should, the fact is that it should be. And if it isn't, then
It's really a gift.
it can become a gift, or it can become a gift when it wasn't
Intended to be that way.
right. And I think the biggest deal here is when you're lending someone money, especially if it's a child, and obviously you want the best for them. You don't want to be looking over their shoulder. What are you actually spending the money on?
Oh, I see you have a new pair of shoes.
Right. Or nice truck outside,
Where's my money?
etc. And then I'm having problems with making payment. I do remember very clearly having this conversation with one of my daughters.
I couldn't imagine it to be me.
Well, of course, honey. You were always responsible. And it became...
It was out of fear.
Well, that's good, at least at that point. So it came under my understanding that there were some payments that had been missed.
Missed payments.
Delinquent in your payments?
They weren't making the payments to me. They were making it to the bank of mom. Okay.
And Bank of Mom was more lenient in the payment payment schedule.
And so I unfortunately had to have a conversation with that borrower to say
that particular borrower.
And I had to say, well, you understand that the Bank of Mom will close to you
for future loan opportunities.
Yes, unless you pay on time. Bank of Mom goes in front of Visa, MasterCard, whomever else it is. You must pay the Bank of Mom first. And so this borrower did come back into line, and they learned, I think, a very valuable lesson there, which is, and of course they were an adult and they were then treated as an adult.
Well, it is nice to have a friendly borrower to begin your understanding of borrowing money, truly, which is having someone that maybe you could miss a payment and that's not ideal, but at least you're not penalized in the same way that you would be from a commercial bank. Well,
also, but again, there has to be accountability. And right. That's what the big deal is you're trying to teach somebody accountability. And if someone was going to miss a payment, of course, that's why they made their payments to the Bank of Mom and not to mean old dad, which is, I'd want an explanation.
An explanation.
There might have been an interest penalty involved, even though these were interest-free loans. And sometimes they're not. But again, you want these to be in writing because if not, they can become unintended gifts.
Also, it can create unintended what's the right word? Unhappy feelings.
Yes.
You feel you've been taken advantage of.
But you're right. At the end of the day, business is business. Love is love. And that's why I like to be clear when clients are asking us these questions, especially when it comes to property.
Like, would you buy this if it wasn't your child that was going to live in it?
Exactly. And then I like to ask that question and then be quiet.
Let them think about it for a moment.
Right. If the answer is no, then you can, I'll say I love you, but you can spare all the rationalizations that you've made. This is love. But if you wouldn't buy this property if they weren't living in it, that's called love.
I think that's okay too, though. I think the idea is that we're here to help you set the expectations for what you're going to be doing. Are you actually creating a loan for someone, or are you giving them a gift? Are you creating an investment property that your child's actually going to be living in at the moment that you might be taking advantage of down the line, or is this a gift?
And I think at the end of the day, also, sometimes clients need to have an opportunity, maybe a second opinion, to look outside themselves.
Sure.
In this case of what we were talking about John and Susie getting out of the basement. If they're not in a position, if you don't really want to get on the hook for a piece of property that frankly you don't want.
Which could be a 30-year commitment, not a 1-year commitment, right. like a rent.
The question is, can we teach them a lesson with less exposure liability? In many cases, what I'll suggest to the client is, why not become the signer on a rental agreement,
which has a 1-year commitment.
Exactly. And let's let them learn how to do that and show that they can be adults and continue to do that.
Because I think that goes back to the first underlining question, which is, do you trust this person to repay the loan? If, unfortunately, your children or someone else in your family, a person that you're making this loan to, has never been able to pay on time or pay back their loans or pay their bills on time, what makes you believe that things are going to be different now? Why put yourself on the hook for a 30-year non-liquid commitment, meaning purchasing a property, versus why don't I'll sink in the $24,000 it's going to cost if you're unable to make the monthly rental payments or whatever that case may be, and have a 1-year commitment to see if we can extend this to either a longer term rental that I'm helping co-sign on, or maybe you are prepared to look at something more significant like home.
It's like a look before you leap strategy.
Well, right. Again, the whole purpose of this is teaching a financial lesson, frankly, for both sides.
Right.
Okay. And number 2 is setting up that person to succeed, because that's why you would lend them money.
Also, it's going to help them build confidence in the future to be successful financially versus another, I don't want to say it this way, but another failure that's not going to breed confidence.
Certainly it isn't. And, these are very difficult questions that you need to ask yourself. If you have a spouse, you need to have a discussion about these. And you're doing it out of love, generally not out of business. And so if you don't answer them before the transaction, you could have an issue. So let's try to avoid those issues.
I also like this last question, and I would like an answer from the bank of mom and dad here. What action will you take if loan payments are late or defaulted? What if the said borrower from previous conversation missed another payment?
I would think that you've probably foreclosed your opportunity to do any more business with the bank of mom and dad. I mean, I would think at the least.
Well,
at the minimum.
Robert, my son-in-law, the problem is that you haven't created grandchildren yet for me so that you could experience these things, because you would think that you would be tough, but the answer is you're not. You love them. That's the whole point. So what I would be doing is I would be asking why. Why are we late, or why are we unable to make this payment? And again, going back to the same basic question is, am I enabling this person? Maybe you have to change the terms so that they do become something that you can both mutually agree on. Mm-hmm. And now you've got a new agreement, which makes you really maybe the friendliest lender they'll ever have. But again, it's teaching that lesson of being an adult is owing people money and paying them back on time. And I would just tell you that I've been fortunate that my children have learned this lesson very well.
And I think this conversation for maybe a lot of our listeners may be like, our kids don't need this, or we've never been in this position. But what I found over time is that, especially as many of our clients head into double digits in retirement, they're approaching their 10th plus year in retirement, they're seeing their kids getting older in the workforce, starting to build their wealth or build their families. They want to help, and they want to help in whatever way they can. And because for many of our clients, you have more wealth, more liquid wealth than your parents had, than their parents had. You have different opportunities to help the next generation. And so these do become questions. Some of our clients choose to make gifts. So this doesn't become a conversation because they've already made the decision that this is a gift. For some clients, we do just want to help out because we want to be the friendly banker. We think we can provide better terms for our children. And they're really coming to us, just like you said, Dad, is how do we limit our financial exposure or liability to helping our children, and to where's the best place to get the money? How do we do this in the most efficient way? Because we've already made the decision this is going to happen. So how do we do this?
And really, these are the most fun conversations we have with clients.
Yes.
Because we're really getting into the essence of financial planning, which is enabling generation to generation and putting you in a good place. So I was going to say that it looks like we need to take our first break of the hour.
Yes.
So do us a favor. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back to answer your calls at 314-931-5877 and text messages.
Please keep them coming.
At 84126. We'll be right back.
This Memorial Day weekend, escape to paradise at Camden on the Lake, located in the Lake of the Ozarks. Join us for unforgettable moments under the warm sun and starry nights. Immerse yourself in free live concerts on our outdoor stage, or for more endless fun, act like a kid and partake in our belly flop contest and tricycle races. Relax in our luxurious rooms where comfort meets elegance. Make your reservations by calling 573-365-5620. Online, CamdenOnTheLake.com. Camden on the Lake, where every moment is a celebration.
Looks like t-shirt weather has finally arrived. Or maybe not. This is St. Louis after all. Hi, this is Frank Blair from Schnarr's Hardware to help you get organized for warmer weather. Looking to get your lawn and gardens in shape for summer? Stop by Schnarr's and we can help you with the right grass seed, fertilizer, and watering products to get things growing. Stay ahead of the summer bugs and drop off your tired and torn screens for our expert staff to repair. And we'll help you keep the bugs outside this summer. Is this the year to finally upgrade that grill? Schnarr's can help put a new Weber gas or charcoal grill on your patio or deck. Or how about a big green egg for the ultimate cooking experience? Looking for simplicity wrapped in smoky goodness? Let us put a Smokin' Brothers pellet grill on your patio or deck. So come to Schnarr's Hardware and let us help you celebrate the arrival of warmer weather. For our address, hours, or to shop online, go to schnarrs.com. It's easy when you start at Schnarr's.
Hi, I'm James Sinclair, your South County Ford dealer and your exclusive Lincoln dealer in the St. Louis metro area. We have a new Lincoln dealership opening soon in West County on Manchester Road. We are a Lincoln Motor Company, President, Award winner, offering a pickup and delivery sales and service experience. Thank you, and here's my address, DaveSinclairLincoln.com or DaveSinclairFord.com. DaveSinclairLincoln.com or DaveSinclairFord.com.
Wouldn't it be great if one company handled all your home service needs? Heidi here for Neighborly of St. Louis, your trusted hub for all your home services. Whether you're in need of Mr. Rooter Plumbing, electrical service from Mr. Electric, AirServe HVAC, or property restoration by Property Medic, you'll receive a consistent, excellent level of customer service. And as an Advantage Plan member, you'll receive priority treatment across all companies. The Neighborly Done Right promise ensures the job will always be done right. Visit them online at neighborlystl.com.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talking Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, we're back here on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio St. Louis. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist.
And we are willing, waiting, and wanting to answer your calls and texts, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
Very quiet this morning.
That's cool. So while we're waiting, I did want to touch on another subject today. Often asked. Now they're asking Aaron, of course, because she won't let me in meetings anymore.
Never.
What are the keys or elements, key elements if you want to a successful retirement? And I would tell you that it comes down to one thing. Truly, we'll talk about the 5 elements, but it really comes down, the whole concept comes down to one thing. I have to replace a part of my paycheck. That's what it is. Some people replace, and again, we're going to talk about how we figure this out, but really that's what it is. I'm getting a paycheck. I'm living off of that check. I'm building a life alone or with someone else, and hopefully maybe lots of other people. And I want to maintain that lifestyle. I want to maintain that income flow so I can continue to do my thing all the way into my golden years. I'll let you know. I'm 67 almost, but I'll let you know when they're golden. Okay.
They're not golden yet. Not every year is golden.
Being with you, honey, is gold. It's like platinum.
Platinum.
The platinum years, I like that.
Right.
Exactly.
It's real fancy.
Why settle for golden years?
There you go. So let's start off with key number 1, maybe the most important one.
A clear picture of your cash flow. How much are you spending each month?
See, this is a great question because most of the literature is centered around how much cash flow can you create for yourself in retirement? How much money can I take from my retirement accounts? What is acceptable? How much of my income am I replacing? A lot of the literature suggests you need to replace 80% of your gross income.
And computer programs.
And computer programs. I even read an article just a few days ago that the 4% rule should no longer be in effect because it should be individualized to each person. Yes, of course. I absolutely agree with that because it should be about how much are you, let's work it from the other direction. How much does it cost to run your life? So how much are you spending every month, irrelevant of how much you have saved, where your other cash flow sources come from. We'll get to that next.
Well, you don't live off your gross. You live off your net.
You live off your net.
And what's deposited into your checking or savings account. And at the end of the month, how much is left? I mean, it's a fairly simple equation.
Yeah.
It truly is an algebra equation. You can stay away from the computers unless you don't have your 10 key available here. But once we know how much normal, or we'll call it our normal spending is each month, we also have to make an allowance for extraordinary, non-recurring capital expenses. Like, let's say, replacing a car, redoing a kitchen, putting on a new deck, going to Disney with the extraordinary, this once-in-a-lifetime vacation, taking all the kit, whatever it would be. We need to take that into account. And then finally, what are the reliable, I use the word really importantly here, reliable sources of income you'll have? And which they could be what? Social Security, it could be
Pension.
There you go. It could be real estate rental income. It could be consulting fees. It could be continuing to work for a certain period of time. Whatever it would be, we need to understand exactly what are your outflows, what are your expenses, and what your inflows are. It's just a simple math problem. Inflows and outflows. Then it becomes a question of, with the inflows, I like to think of the inflows as like water in a reservoir. That I've got a tap. Maybe it's like a big barrel full of water with a tap. It's like, and so I always think of us as kind of like being plumbers because it's about controlling faucets. When do I elect my Social Security?
That's one faucet.
You know, if I have access to a pension, what is the design that I choose in terms of life only, joint survivor, what percentage, and then when? Do I take it immediately or do I put it off? Or are there benefits? And do I, I mean, that's really what it comes down to is managing those faucets, when to turn them on and turn them off. And with many folks, we're making these critical decisions about someone decides, or we decide together, let's say, we want to put off taking our Social Security until normal retirement age, as an example. Well, great. We'll turn on the IRA faucet. We're turning on the pension faucet, waiting it for maybe a period of years. Then we turn those faucets down. We turn on the Social Security faucet. Faucet management, that's important.
Before we get to the next 5 keys to success, so that would be the third key, we've got a couple of text questions.
And our next texter writes, can you discuss your recommendations in terms of typical accounts retirees use during retirement, and specifically if one should keep their emergency fund with their money market savings, which is used to cover monthly expenses not covered by Social Security, pensions, etc., on a monthly basis?
So absolutely, without question, we always recommend that you maintain an emergency fund that can accommodate between 6 and 12 months of your monthly income above and beyond what you are receiving every single month, which is what most people do while they're working. If you're bringing in $5,000 a month, you want to have, between 6 and 12 months of that $5,000 a month available to you in your savings account. You want it liquid in the lowest possible fee environment. So that means if, your local bank is providing you a decent rate of interest comparable to a money market account, or maybe your local bank is offering a money market account, you might want to utilize one of those sources, one of those places to hold those funds. We don't recommend that they are invested because we don't want to put any short-term risk met with with short-term need met with long-term risk. These funds aren't meant to be invested. They're to be there exactly what you mentioned for emergency cash flow and then emergency purposes. So we always recommend that. In terms of the typical accounts we recommend, those are generally dictated by the places that our clients are already holding funds. So for example, for most people retiring, they are holding some pre-tax assets inside of a retirement plan at work or through their own creation if they're self-employed, like a SEP plan. So we're usually holding traditional IRA assets. They may have accumulated some Roth assets. We're going to continue to maintain those two and maintain them separately. And then if they have any after-tax assets that are not emergency funds, so maybe they've built up some brokerage accounts over time, or maybe we're planning to use some funds in the future that they're going to be receiving if they've worked for the city, they have a drop, something along those lines. We want to create an after-tax account for them above and beyond their emergency fund. then essentially our clients' funds and needs dictate the types of accounts that we create for them.
I was going to say for our texter, and hopefully they're still listening, just imagine this. We're going to take your assets. We're not going to take them. I'm saying we're not going to take them. Take physical possession, but just imagine us dividing them into 4 uneven piles. Okay? Or if you think about it, pouring them into 4 different buckets. The one bucket's going to be your emergency fund bucket.
That one you hold on to.
We don't want to have that. We don't take possession of our clients' emergency funds, and the reason is because they have to pay us a fee. And so we want it to be there, local, accessible, etc., and fee-free.
And liquid.
The second bucket is maybe the most important one. That's what we call the milk money bucket. That is the bucket which we're getting to in our previous conversation, where if we need to create an income stream for you, we're going to allocate a certain amount of capital, which by using a prudent rate of withdrawal, 4% is what we use, will fund that income deficit. That's the milk money. Preserve, protect, prudently grow. Hopefully then you also have what we think of money put aside for capital, maybe one-time capital expenditures, non-recurring expenses.
Your last car.
Exactly, your last car.
Termite removal.
There you go.
God.
And then the fourth one is if you do have money left, and most of our clients do, that's the growth bucket. It can be used to grow. It could also be used to provide additional cash flow as needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to design accounts or invest those money in accounts that are going to have the function and the objective to deliver the income needs that you want from your milk money bucket, and obviously grow your money on the growth bucket. And frankly, making sure that non-recurring expenses bucket, the last car bucket, if you want to think about it, the new deck bucket, that's going to empty real fast, because what happens is we're only going to fill it usually within 6 to 12 months of when you need that money. So we'll be taking it from the growth bucket, we'll be taking it from the emergency fund, and then what we may end up doing is replenishing that bucket. And so if we, as an example, let's just say that, and we had this yesterday, talking to a client, and he said, Jeff, what we're going to do is we want to put a new deck on the house. We think it's going to cost about $30,000. And we also owe the IRS some money. We owe them about $5,000. Like, okay, so we need about $25,000. He happens to be RMD eligible age. Mm-hmm. So we know that we have to give him an RMD. It's interesting is that his RMD for this year is about $30,000. Mm-hmm. The net should be about $25,000. So the numbers match up. It's kind of neat. So it's just like, okay, we can give you your RMD anytime you want during the year. So why don't we just time it to meet when your expenses are? What you owe the IRS, back tax you owe, cut the check today, because you're accruing interest. You don't want to do that. When your contractor calls you, once you've chosen one, you've come up with a design, the wood, all that kind of good stuff. They want money, then we can send you that money. But we're going to make sure that amount that we have to have out of your account is going to happen before December 31.
Right.
So that you don't incur a penalty. What's interesting is that he said, well, what's the source? I said, well, we know where it's going to come from, but to begin with, why don't we use your emergency bucket? It's liquid. It's there. He had about 50,000. And it's like, you'll drain the bucket.
We'll replenish
and
it.
We'll pour water back in. And that's really what it is. And sort of was getting us to our next discussion, which is about, we call it faucets and jars, which is, pouring money into faucets, into jars.
From the faucets.
From the faucets, and then opening of those faucets, whether it's for income or for whatever purposes. It's really math. That's the big deal. Understanding what your expenses are, projecting expenses, funding for those expenses on a timely basis, choosing where you pull the money from. That's what having an advisor is all about.
And before we get to, we've got a few additional text questions, and we definitely want to get back to the 5 keys to a successful retirement. We need to take our second break of the hour.
So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
2-2 delivery is hit hard down the left field line, towards the line, get up, it's a big fly!
May the force be with the Cardinals as they take on the Rockies, because Star Wars Night returns to the ballpark on Thursday, June 6th. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Star Wars-themed Jordan Skywalker bobblehead. Characters will also be at the ballpark for photo ops. That's June 6th, Star Wars Night. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/theme.
Don't miss the 7th Annual Pride Night, presented by Mission Taco Joy at Busch Stadium on Friday, June 7th. Join LGBTQIA+ friends, family, and allies to watch the Cardinals take on the Rockies. With the purchase of a theme ticket, fans will receive a Cardinals Pride pack including a belt bag, headband, and pin. A portion of each ticket sold will be donated to Team St. Louis. Get your Pride Night tickets today at cardinals.com/theme. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
You're selling your home and I want to buy it. This is Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I am ready to pay top dollar for your home. No contingencies, no inspections, no monkey business. I buy your home no matter the condition or location, and you walk away with cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867, 314-283-0867, or at robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
This Memorial Day weekend, escape to paradise at Camden on the Lake, located in the Lake of the Ozarks. Join us for unforgettable moments under the warm sun and starry nights. Immerse yourself in free live concerts on our outdoor stage, or for more endless fun, act like a kid and partake in our belly flop contest and tricycle races. Relax in our luxurious rooms where comfort meets elegance. Make your reservations by calling 573-365-5620. Online, CamdenOnTheLake.com. Camden on the Lake, where every moment is a celebration.
Henke's Tavern.
The historic Florissant icon and significant staple.
Founded in the early 1900s and operating as Henke's since 1955. Celebrating 2 years under new ownership and management. All Florissant natives and longtime residents that want to keep the history alive. Home of the famous Henke's Smash Burger and the most popular item on the menu, the cheeseburger platter. Served open-faced on sliced bread, topped with cheese, French fries, and roast beef gravy. A must-try on your first trip or every trip to Henke's. And of course, plenty of ice-cold beverages are always on hand for any stop. Henke's, located in the heart of Florissant.
At 901 North Lafayette.
The all-new patio with live music on Friday and Sunday nights. Plus, catch all the St. Louis City soccer games at Henke's. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. till 1:30 a.m. and Sundays, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Henke's Tavern, a St. Louis icon in the heart of Florissant.
Find them on Facebook at Henke's Tavern.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Thank you. Welcome back. And we've got some texts on the line to close out our hour number one of the show.
And our next texter writes, this may be the wrong place to ask this. I am currently doing backdoor Roth contributions every year. Is there another way, a better way to accomplish the goal we're trying to achieve by doing this?
So I'm going to assume...
No.
Right. Well, right. Unfortunately, no. Let's back up a little bit for our listeners that don't know necessarily all of the lingo. I'm going to start from the end and assume the goal is to get money into the Roth. Unfortunately, if you are in need of executing a backdoor Roth contribution, that tells me that you have priced yourself out of being able to make Roth contributions. You earn too much, either as an individual or as a couple married filing jointly. So what you're doing is making non-deductible IRA contributions and then immediately converting those into Roth. There's no taxes in this process because you've already paid taxes and you are not expecting a deduction on the non-deductible IRA contribution that you're making. So it's essentially neutral. If you want to get more money into a Roth, The only way that you will be able to do this, either one, if your company now offers Roth contributions through your retirement plan at work, you could start making contributions there versus your traditional 401k, 403b, depending upon what you have. Or two, you're going to have to bite the tax bullet and make Roth conversions, meaning taking money you've already taken deductions on during your accumulation years and converting them, meaning taking the money out of your traditional IRA, paying taxes to get the money into the Roth account, which is not what you're currently doing. So you'd be changing your tax situation by doing this. So the short answer, just like you said, Dad, is no.
No, and the other alternative to this is stop this Chinese fire drill. I mean, really, open up a brokerage or an investment advisory account.
An after-tax account, essentially.
Invest the money there.
Pick something that is tax advantaged.
Exactly. And we have several of those strategies available, or something that's growth oriented that isn't paying dividends or interest. And you'll accomplish the same thing. But what's also cool about that is that if you're doing this to accumulate money for someone else, children, grandchildren, whoever it might be, if it's in an after-tax account, it's going to step up the fair market value at the day of your death. So you achieve the same deal as being in a Roth. What I would also mention to you is, and this is, you can say it's anecdotal, but it is true just since I've been doing this for over 20 years. Our clients don't use their Roth IRAs for income purposes. That's a fallacy. What they use it for is the big ticket items.
Right.
Because when it comes to, I need 30,000 or 40, now it's 40,000.
60,000.
You want a new truck? It's $70,000. I need $70,000, but I don't want to have to go to the hospital, have a heart attack from pulling it out of my IRA and having to pull 100,000 out to get 70 net. Where do we go?
Your Roth.
You're going to go to your Roth, and our clients that's what they're using their Roths for, whether they have biggies or little ones. If they have big ones, you know what they may be looking at? They're thinking to themselves, this is going to go to my loving children. Loving grandchildren. Income tax free. So keep on doing it or save yourself the time.
Yeah, but unfortunately there is no, based on the current tax law, the reason that you are having to do it this way is because of how the law is set up. So unfortunately, there aren't any. This is a loophole within and of itself, essentially.
Well, and if you think about it, if you're obviously I'm assuming you're old enough here. You're over the age of 50. You're stuck with only doing $8,000 a year or 16
for the
with
couple.
You and your spouse. What if you want to do more?
You can't.
Not under this scenario, but you can do as much as you want. You can put as much as you want into an after-tax investment account and let it grow. Mm-hmm. So save yourself some time.
And our next texter writes, "Hi, Aaron. Well, this coming week is it. On Wednesday, we will walk out of the hospital together after 43 years, just as planned. And we want to thank you for your knowledge, your hard work, and what we consider to be a wonderful friendship. You have been instrumental in helping us feel comfortable with our decision, a decision that, I think, is a bit stressful for everyone. We look forward to working with you for many years to come in our retirement." That is so sweet.
Not only is that so sweet, I know exactly who this is, and I'm so excited for both of them because they have been clients, not just of mine, but Dad, of yours for quite some time. I think they joined us even before I was licensed to be an investment advisor representative, and they finally made the decision after many years to leave work together, which is really nice.
Neat.
It's going to be great. It's already been great. I know they've been enjoying themselves, so I know they'll enjoy themselves even more this Wednesday.
That's fabulous. And
That's fabulous.
And
checks in the mail.
And we have to say thank you, cousin Elmer.
Right, exactly.
Because we're really not supposed to get
such kind words.
Such kind words. Compliance doesn't like people talking nicely about us.
We appreciate your friendship too.
Thank you. We certainly do. And it's so privileged for us to be invited on the journey with you in your retirement.
And our last texter before we get to our Medicare hour since the change of titles of Jeff and Aaron, will the web page be changed?
We will update the web page, also all of our cards and accompanying materials, but it takes a little bit of time to work through all of that, and Dad just jumped the gun being so excited to change titles.
But do us a favor, don't touch that dial. We'll be back after these messages with more Straight Talk on Retirement here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back to our second hour of Straight Talk on Retirement.
It's the favorite portion of the
favorite
show.
portion.
My favorite.
Is it?
Because you care, we talk Medicare.
And you and I, spent almost all of last week talking Medicare. We were at a conference here in Kansas City. Well, not quite here, but in Missouri, but in Kansas City.
Very nice drive.
It was a nice drive. Kansas City, also a nice place.
I wish it didn't rain on the way over there, but...
Oh, goodness. The rain, yes.
We got caught in the torrential downpours of last week, but we... come through all right.
That's right. And we've come back with a lot of excellent knowledge and information on Medicare upcoming for the next year and really the next several years.
And it's going to be some changes.
There are going to be some big changes, some good, some beneficial for enrollees, and maybe some that we're just going to have to work through. But one of the benefits of knowing that changes are coming is that we can prepare for them.
One of the great things about knowing that change is coming is that you can get in front of it.
Right. So there aren't many things that we know for sure, because as many of you know, if you've listened to us for any length of time, we can't talk about Medicare Advantage plan changes until October 1st. That's a relatively long. We got to get through summer first and a portion of fall.
I kept thinking that the whole time, like, oh my God, like half the year is gone, and here we are, talking about some of these changes that are going to be coming, and open enrollment being right around the corner, and it was like, wait a minute. We just had the NFL draft. Like,
where are we in the year?
Right.
Well, there is one change that
we know for certain
can be counted upon, that the time of the 1 to 7% increase on Medicare supplemental policies, so the Plan Gs, the Plan Fs, the Plan Ns, the Ls of the world, the lettered supplements, the Medigap policies, those relatively minor premium increases year over year are over.
Those days are over.
Unfortunately, the insurance companies have basically let us know that new premium increases are going to average 20% year over year.
So what that basically means is, whereas before you were on an escalator, now you're on an elevator, and it's going up.
Right. You think about 20% year over year. Within 5 years, you have 100% premium increase on your supplement. And as everyone knows that is on a supplement, your benefits do not change. So you're going to be paying 100% more for exactly the same thing.
Not exactly ideal, but being that we know that these changes are coming, we can begin to have these conversations about, do you really want to be on a supplement? Maybe you've been a little bit closed off to Advantage plans. Maybe now's the time to put a fresh set of eyes on those plans, even if you're going to stay with the supplement for a little bit longer until those changes really start to bite. Now is the time to lay that groundwork.
Start educating yourself on what the Medicare Advantage plans look like, what the math looks like.
The math is always the key. I mean, the bottom line always speaks the loudest, and 20% is a big jump.
It's significant. And so I would say, if you're someone that just heard that and you're not excited about getting your premium notice, which you will receive in the mail at your renewal. So unlike Medicare Advantage plans where we get to see the new plans October 1st, everybody gets a look at the same time. If you're on a supplement, you're on your own premium schedule, meaning when you initially enrolled in the plan, that could line up with when you enrolled in Medicare, meaning your birthday, or it could line up with Medicare because you had a special enrollment enrollment, and it's not exactly on your birthday, but it's when you elected your supplemental plan. That's when you'll receive your letter. That's when you'll see your premium increase. Not every insurance company is going to have a 20% increase, but the average was 5 for the past 10 years in terms of premium increases. Now it's going to be 20. So even if you're on the low end, to me, that sounds like it's going to be more significant than you're used to in the past. There were some interesting statistics that we were privy to over the last week, which was that if you enrolled in Medicare 10 to 15 years ago and you enrolled in Medicare today, you're paying about the same amount to join one of these supplemental plans.
Supplemental plans haven't really been affected by inflation. Haven't
kept up with rising hospital and healthcare expenses. Now, unfortunately, for those enrolled, the rubber is going to meet the road here. That's not to say that with Medicare Advantage plans we won't see changes, because we will see significant changes next year. But this is about dollars and cents, money out of your pocket for receiving services. How do we make that the most cost effective for you, the most efficient for you, as still ensuring that you're going to be able to see your physicians and fill your prescriptions? The other important notice that we mentioned in passing a few times over the last several months is that the donut hole is going to completely close as of 2025. Your maximum prescription expense is going to be $2,000 regardless of what type of policy you're on. And when we say maximum prescription drug expense, that means copay. So if you're paying premium, that's not included in the $2,000, but your copay maximum will be $2,000. So your out of pocket for your drugs will be $2,000 next year. There's going to be some additional administrative work that you're going to need to work with your current agent, or if you're working with us, or if you'd like help, that you're going to have to take care of in order to receive continuous expense, meaning your expenses aren't going to go up and down like they do now when you move through the different stages of prescription drug expense. You're going to actually be able to smooth those expenses next year, meaning pay a consistent amount for your prescriptions in January as well as December, versus seeing different expenses as you move through the different phases of the donut hole, because that'll be gone.
And there'll be some administrative paperwork that we would love to, guide you through and help you with. And that's why it's so important to get on the schedule early, because we know that these changes are coming, and we know to be in front of them, but you got to be on the schedule.
So, and we're committed every single week at this point. We're obviously going to talk about stories. We're going to talk about different situations that come up throughout the year, especially conversations that Frank has with individuals currently enrolling in Medicare, things that he sees. But we're going to spend time every opportunity that we have to discuss a change that we know is taking place. We're going to spend time during our Medicare segment every week to discuss what that change is and how you can get in front of it. So I would say, first of all, this costs you nothing. If you are someone that is on a supplement and you want to hear about Medicare Advantage, every single agent is going to be incredibly busy this open enrollment season because of the changes that are upcoming. Don't wait until fall to get on the schedule with either your current agent, or if you're not currently working with someone and you'd like to, don't wait to get on the books to just have the conversation. There is no commitment. There is no requirement to sit down and listen to what your options are. You can start hearing about the new plans as soon as October 1st, but our calendar goes all the way to October. So if you'd like to schedule your appointment early, you know how to do that. You could give our office a call, 314-863-0008. You can log on to our website, jblfinancial.com, click on the Contact Us button and say, hey, I'd like to get my open enrollment appointment on the books in advance. We'll be here to make sure that all of your information is properly up to date and you're in a plan that follows your healthcare needs.
No commitment, no requirement, and
no cost.
Exactly. I think
it's so important here I'm going to toot our horn a little bit. We are helping more people enroll in Medicare than any other organization in the state of Missouri, period. And it's all because you are our listeners.
That's right.
We're helping hundreds of people do this every single year. We have thousands of folks we've helped in the past. And our current clients are just like new clients.
Yep.
They get access to the same information, the same services, and I guess what I'd like to impress on everybody, and this is for folks that either are getting ready to enroll or already enrolled. This is really the one area of your life that you can truly customize to you.
Right. You don't have to follow your employer anymore. You don't have to follow your spouse anymore.
Exactly. And so understanding how you're consuming healthcare, and really not only healthcare, but also health wellness. Mm-hmm. Because of the benefits that have been, the additional benefits that have been enhanced under Medicare Advantage plans, you really need to look at your numbers, because you may find that a lot of things that aren't currently covered through a traditional plan, like I'm thinking
dental, hearing, vision.
I mean, you need a new pair of glasses. What's that cost today?
$400.
Well, that's right. Or what if you're somebody that's getting fitted for their first set or maybe replacement set of hearing aids?
That's thousands.
Right. Exactly.
On the low end.
As well as all just the health wellness stuff, whether it's belonging to a gym, as many as you want under Medicare Advantage. You need to look at this, because it's not just the direct dollars of what am I paying a doctor, what am I paying the hospital, but really what am I consuming for healthcare for my life.
Right. And Dad, that's a great point. When we talk about healthcare, most people only think about hospital visits, prescription drugs, what does it cost if something catastrophic happens to me physically? However, there are many components to your health care that we want to factor in. Dental, hearing, vision, your gym membership. In addition to that, many companies are offering over-the-counter reimbursements, or you can purchase, things that aren't behind the pharmacy, but in the pharmacy section of CVS, Walgreens, Costco, those places. So they're going to help foot some other out-of-pocket expenses that you have. Many of these insurance companies are offering reimbursements for copays and things like that. So and those benefits will change over time. We're not saying that the supplements are now going to be a thing of the past. They're always going to be there. Medicare Advantage plans change every year, but it is important for your health care plan to follow your healthcare needs, and that isn't just about how much it costs when I go to the doctor anymore. That's about a lot of other things, and this can mean some cost shifting for you, meaning I was paying premium, now I'm paying copays. I was paying for my Claritin every month, now I don't have to pay for that, I'm going to pay for something else. So we can be here to put those numbers together for you. And Dad, as you like to say, put it up on our 6x8 foot whiteboard, play This Is Your Medical Life with your medical numbers, and really get a clear picture for you so you feel comfortable moving into the next plan year.
One of the statistics that I took away from our meeting was over 80% of people
want to work with agents.
Right, and we want to work with you. But there are going to be big changes. And, again, we know the changes are coming, so we want to get you on the schedule as soon as possible.
It's funny, we looked it up while we were sitting there. There are 280 Medicare plans offered in St. Louis County alone.
That's a lot of plans.
Do you really want to spend your retirement? Do you really want to spend October, November, this time when that's family time. We just talked about family time. That's like key family time when they have open enrollment available for individuals that are already on Medicare. Do you really want to spend that time doing that? Do you want to work with somebody that spends 365 days a year working in these policies, that's here to help you, that, it doesn't cost anything for you to do this, and you can have some additional insight, and there's never any requirement when you sit down with someone. At least there shouldn't be.
Honey, I had a question for you this morning.
Okay.
And I guess this is something that folks may not realize. Every licensed insurance agent in the state of Missouri has an opportunity to be involved in Medigap plans, these traditional plans.
You don't have to have any additional licensing aside from your life and health license.
But you need to be specially licensed to be involved with Medicare Advantage.
To even offer it, yes.
If your life is driving down a 2-lane road, mm-hmm. Medicare, either a traditional supplement or Medicare Advantage, those are the only two options that are available to you. You want to work with somebody that can drive in the left lane and the right lane.
Right. You want to see all of your options. You don't want to be limited by what the individual you're working with. And that's a simple question. Are you licensed to sell Medicare Advantage?
And, my question to you was, are most agents licensed dually? And the answer is no, they're not.
No, and that's really because the supplements were the original supplement to Medicare. That's why they're called that. It doesn't take any additional licensing expense or requirements in order to sell the supplements. And in addition to that, the Medicare Advantage plans, although they are not new, because Medicare Advantage has actually been around since the Reagan administration, legislation in 2003 really transformed Medicare Advantage plans into what they look like today. But that's over 20 years now. These plans have been in place for quite some time. Enrollment into them is triple what the supplements are at this point. So they certainly aren't going anywhere. They're a piece of healthcare in retirement. So it's important to work with someone that can give you, even if you choose to stay with your supplement, at least you know what it looks like in the other lane, so to speak.
And I want to say I marvel, only because I don't have to do it, is to watch you guys all get relicensed every year.
It's daunting.
It's not a set it and forget it thing. You have to go through continuing it every single year, many hours of study.
Well, and that's really to protect everyone that we work with, because the Medicare Advantage plans change every year, because legislation, CMS, the Center for Medicare Services, has new regulations that are released. New guidelines, not only for how the plans are sold,
how we can talk about them,
but what the plans can offer and what those rules around them are. We need to be up to date for you every single year. We do have we've got quite a few text questions on deck, so I definitely want to take the opportunity to get to them before we get back to the 5 keys to successful retirement planning.
Go for it.
Our next texter writes, I'm on Medicare and I have Aetna insurance. I recently received a notice from Aetna telling me that they gave me $600 per year to purchase exercise equipment, jazzercise, etc. I knew nothing about this benefit. Could you please talk more about this?
This is the Aetna Fitness benefit. Sounds like you're on one of the plans that's offering $600 a year, which is fabulous. Some offer a little bit more, up to $1,200 a year. This is another way that the Medicare Advantage plans are helping subsidize some of your expenses. You have the full year to spend that $600 on bikes, classes, like you said, jazzercise. If you log on to Aetna.com and log into your member portal, there are some lists of options of things that you are able to purchase. There is a reimbursement form available. So what will happen is save the receipt, you'll fill the form out, and then Aetna will send you your reimbursement in full up to $600. Or you can submit your reimbursement online. I've heard that the online submission produces quicker results for you. So there are no hooks, but you just want to make sure that what you purchase falls under what they are willing to reimburse for.
Absolutely, because there is some nuance there. Like, for instance, they'll, in some plans they'll buy the bike, but they won't pay for bike repairs. So you just want to log into that website and make sure that you will have a full understanding of what's covered, and more importantly, what isn't.
Is this benefit only with Aetna?
Currently, it is only through Aetna. No other plans are offering the fitness benefit. This is separate and apart from Silver Sneakers, which every single policy offers, unless you're with United Healthcare, and they offer what's called Renew Active, which is literally the same benefit. It's a free base gym membership. It's just that United is excellent in branding things, so they've decided to brand Silver Sneakers uniquely to themselves.
Very good.
And our next texter writes, thank you for the new upsetting info regarding Medicare supplements. The average increase of 20% is shocking. When will this be talked about in the news?
My guess is whichever insurance company sends out their renewal notices first and people start a clamoring, they'll be the first ones to let everyone know that's what's going on.
Well, you never know. I was going to say, they're asking about when are they going to start hearing about it in the news. Maybe soon, because we're going to be talking to some of the news outlets here in the city about that and find out when they want to get this information out to you.
That's right.
Please clarify. There's going to be "quote unquote" administrative paperwork if you have an advantage plan now, and you'll probably stay on the advantage plan, or if you are on a supplemental plan now and will want to move to an advantage plan. Thanks.
If you are two things. If you, whatever policy you are currently on, if you would just like it to renew and you are not making any changes, there is no administrative work for you. Your plan is going to automatically renew. If you decide to change from a supplement to a Medicare Advantage plan or from one Medicare Advantage plan to another, you're going to sign an application for that new policy. That would be administrative paperwork. But separate and apart from that, because the donut hole is going away, the CMS, the Center for Medicare Services, is now going to be offering an additional benefit. I like to think of this as like, when Ameren sends out that notice before summer that says, do you want your electric bill to stay the same throughout the whole year as opposed to seeing a big spike in summer and a big spike in winter? We can smooth that for you throughout the year.
So the smoothing paperwork, if you will.
Exactly. If you are someone on an expensive medication, so you're on a tier 3 or above medication, you are somebody that has hit the donut hole in the past, no matter what policy you are on, no matter if you switch or stay where you are, there's going to be additional paperwork for you to fill out to request a smoothing of your prescription drug costs, meaning you get to pay the same amount every single month as opposed to having to move through the different cost structures that Medicare has already put in place, even though you'll cap out at $2,000 through the end of the year. This is something that must be done before January 1st in order for you to receive the benefit of smoothing. It's not going to change what everyone pays by the end of the year. So if you don't submit the paperwork, you're going to see a fluctuation in price with a cap of $2,000. But if you'd like consistency in your pricing, you're going to have to submit paperwork. All of the insurance companies will have it. They don't have it yet, so you can't fill it out yet. All of the agents that you work with will have it, hopefully. I know we will have it ready for every single person that we meet with, so we can submit it for you either with your plan change because you've decided to make a change, or submit it on your behalf because you're not making a change, but you would like to take advantage of being able to have consistent drug pricing throughout the year.
And our next texter writes, hello, JBL crew. Did I hear correctly that Medicare supplements are going up 20% in 2025? Unfortunately, you did.
Yes, but the supplements are in reference to the Medigap policies. I happen to know the individual we're chatting with, or that sent this text question, is on a Medicare Advantage plan. So 20% increase of a zero premium is still zero. So that'll be just fine. Don't worry about that. Let's keep it going.
And our next sector writes, TV said this week the feds are not funding Aetna's benefits.
I'm not exactly sure what that's in reference to, but I think we've talked about this extensively about the fitness benefit. This is just the TV announcing what we already let you all know, which is that Aetna jumped the gun a little bit on offering on the fitness benefit on what they would reimburse for. CMS has said they aren't going to reimburse for everything, but they are not defunding Aetna. Don't worry if you have an Aetna policy. It's I think the largest insurer in the world. It's not going anywhere.
How much did you say? Our next texter writes, how much did you say the fitness benefit was? $600? Did they lower it?
No, they did not lower it. However, depending upon what Aetna policy you are on, you had access to a specific dollar amount. So, for example, the Aetna PPO. So if you were on the original Aetna PPO, that only offered a $600 fitness benefit. If you were on the Aetna Smart Fit or the Aetna Gold Advantage, that was a $1,200 reimbursement. It's staying the same. The Aetna Elite PPO only had a $600 reimbursement. It is staying the same. It just happens to be lower.
And our next texter writes, I'm a Missouri resident, but spend about 8 months in Texas. I have a Medicare supplement to ensure I receive medical care in all covered in both states. Is that necessary?
So, it is necessary to supplement your Medicare benefits, meaning you want either a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. The Medicare Advantage plans have now progressed to the point where if you were to elect Aetna or United Healthcare or another national carrier like Anthem, they will provide you benefits for in-network physicians in both Missouri and Texas. You would want to work with an agent to pick a policy that would provide you in-network benefits for where you are in Texas as well as where you are in Missouri. But you have options now that are not strictly limited to the supplements.
I would just inject here is that if somebody's spending 8 months a year out of the state, they probably should have their home plan being the state where they're primarily domiciled.
That is also true, but with the supplements, most people pick.
Right.
You have to choose the state of residence. That's how right. CMS determines where you can pick your policy. So if that gentleman is still a Missouri resident, but in Texas primarily, we could work it backwards, meaning what's the largest network in Texas, but still using a Missouri policy. So we could take, and I think that makes a lot of sense. We should take advantage of knowledge, meaning if you're in Texas more frequently than you're in Missouri, but you're a Missouri resident, you still have to use a Missouri policy, but we could say who's got the larger network where you are in Texas.
Very good.
And I think that just about does it for our text. That's a financial one. We want to save that for when we come back after our next break, which we should take because this half hour has flown by. So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more of your texts and phone calls after these messages.
Hey, Rob.
First impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, we're back here on the Big 550 KTRS to answer your phone calls and texts, 314-931-5877 or 84126 on the text line.
And our next financial text says, hey, I noticed after looking at my 401k this week that I finally got back to where I was at my highest point in December a few years ago.
Woohoo!
It seems like it took longer than normal to get back to that level. My question is, am I in a minority or am I in the majority of people that took that long to get all the way back?
I would say if you didn't make any changes to your portfolio, that's probably the norm, because you saw depreciation on both sides of your account, meaning you saw a decrease in the equity portion of your account value, but you also saw your bond component take a pretty significant hit as well, which is not like every past financial downturn or market downturn where we really saw a drawdown on the equity side versus the bond component. So you saw two pieces pull back. If you didn't make any changes, then it makes sense that it took a little bit longer for it to come back.
Well, and the good news is that as the markets were declining, when you were making your 401k contributions, you were buying shares
at lower cost, meaning now it should become more and more valuable.
Exactly. And so those ones have recovered first, the fastest.
Right.
which is kind of cool. So you probably are on pace. It's okay. But again, the biggest determinant of return is your mix between stocks, bonds, and cash.
Right. And although most people don't make major changes inside of their 401ks or other retirement plans when they see drawdowns in the market, it is important to consider rebalancing at least a couple of times a year to stay within your risk tolerance, so that way as things are progressing, you are not getting out of balance, because it's very likely that, especially with a nice run up on the equity side of the market, that you could be more equity heavy than you necessarily have a tolerance for.
I did see that we just eclipsed 40,000 on the Dow.
Yeah, Dow 40,000 and holding through the weekend.
Amazing.
Well, it sounds good. I mean, the fact is, no matter. Your mom asked me this the other day. She goes, "Why?
Why did it happen?"
Yeah. Why are the markets continuing to move forward when we have two wars?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've got political unrest at the universities. We've got
kids don't spend any money.
We got one guy that wants to be president that's in court. The other one that's acting like he's president. We don't know if he's really checked in or not. And how can it happen? Inflation's up, prices are up, etc. Why the markets move forward? It's because the markets are driven by the expectation of investors about future profits. So what's happened is that we haven't gone into a recession, as maybe was predicted. The Fed hasn't had to reduce interest rates to save the economy, because lowering interest rates should make the cost of borrowing money less expensive for businesses so they can expand, et cetera, as well as individuals so they can borrow money for credit purposes, mortgages, et cetera. It's resilient. The economy is resilient, and that's good. And that's good. And frankly, that's really good news. And whether we see interest rate cuts or not, truth is we don't want them. I mean, you really don't. Because
that says that we're seeing a weakening in the economy.
Yes, and also weakening in the interest that they're paying you at the bank.
So I saw a really interesting article just this week, because Walmart reported really excellent numbers, and that bode well for the economy because it means people are still spending money. And they wrote a note in their forward guidance that they're seeing more affluent shoppers shop down to Walmart now for cost-cutting measures, and that could be construed negatively, that even the higher income earners now are feeling the pinch of inflation. But you know what it made me think, Dad?
Nope.
I at first was like, ugh, that seems a little bit concerning. But then I thought to myself, not really, because just like you said at the outset of this inflation, people make choices. Well, now it's come to the point, I guess, where people that weren't necessarily looking at their grocery bill because it didn't have a huge impact on their monthly expenses if it went up 10% or not, now say, well, I don't really feel like doing that anymore. I'm going to shop at a place where I am seeing discounted prices. They didn't stop shopping. They just made a choice to shop somewhere else.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to pay $6 for a glass of orange juice. I'm just not going to do that. No, it's just, you're just applying it elsewhere, but it's the same mentality.
Absolutely.
Well, yes. And simple analogy you can use is breakfast, at least for me, because I eat breakfast all the time because I don't eat lunch that often. Do I go to fast food, which seems incredibly expensive, or do I go to a restaurant? Fast food is probably half the price of a restaurant food. Question is the restaurant food worth twice as much?
Is the restaurant beginning to win that battle?
No.
Not yet.
No, really not yet, because now that I've gone through the shock
of the price increases
of what the drive-through prices are at McDonald's, I look at a regular breakfast outside. It's almost $20. I mean, $20 for breakfast. Are you kidding me?
That's why I thought maybe First Watch stole you away.
No,
they're $20 for breakfast at minimum.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good
with coffee. I mean, the portions are great with coffee, etc. But $8 at McDonald's, I guess, is more acceptable.
Remember when lunch used to be $8?
Yeah.
We were watching Point Break a couple nights ago.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy ordered 2 meatball subs
and a tuna sub,
and
3 sandwiches
for and
$7.
It was like wild.
I was like, did you hear that? That was the most outrageous part of Point Break for me at this point.
Now we're looking like, well, see if you could see a gas sign in the background.
Not presidential bank robbers, but how much it costs for a lunch.
Well, and again, I think that, at least I'm hopeful, that in this election cycle, that one or both of the candidates are going to be willing to address how they're going to deal with inflation. Because this whole thing, well, the rate of inflation is going down. Maybe the rate of increase is going down, right, but the 20% that we picked up
is not going backwards.
It isn't going away.
It's what they called sticky. It has stuck.
I remember when it was transitory.
That's what they used to call super glue, but then it's permanent. I mean,
this is gorilla glue.
Right.
Gorilla inflation. I've coined a new term.
All of us will continue to make choices. And for somebody that is used to doing a lot of eating out, I have to tell you what, I'm looking at banquet. I'm going,
Are you looking for a loan?
No, I'm serious. No, it's like, you know what? Maybe I ought to pick up a frozen dinner for $5. They used to be $2. Okay, now it's like, well, maybe now they're $3. It's like, oh my God.
Don't do it. Just, yeah.
Well, we used to have a freezer in the basement, and Dad would have the Salisbury steak down there, the banquet.
Oh, I love that.
There was the fried chicken one.
No,
that was not as good.
The fried chicken one is
the best.
Delicious.
Is the turkey dinner.
The turkey dinner, because it's got the mashed potatoes with it.
And gravy. And
I was never a banquet man. I was more of a hungry man.
I think you had a combo. It was really what the options were of the meals.
It was banquet when we were young because I was broke. But now it's the hungry man because the meal sizes are larger.
I used to joke with my cousin about it. It's not a meal. It's a banquet.
Well, it's interesting. You know what? We're all having to make these choices. And unfortunately, I think many people, at least I'm sorry, as well as me, are asking myself, is this really permanent or not? And I'd like to think that it isn't. That the government, especially when it comes to energy policy, can make a significant impact on prices. I mean, we know everything is linked to oil. Let's get the price down. Let's get the trucks running less expensively. Let's say the warehouses and the manufacturing facilities having the raw material costs lower. Let's also have it cost less for us to drive our cars. I mean, all that kind of good stuff. When prices go down, your paycheck goes up.
Yep, the ship to shelf cost is considerable, and people really don't consider that, but it's there, and bringing that cost down would have a snowball effect on everything else.
Absolutely.
As would spending.
Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from text line.
And
you said it. They heard it.
And our next texter writes, I sold my house and did not have to pay taxes on the proceeds because of the amount of the sale.
Congratulations.
Woo-hoo! How can I invest that money without having to pay taxes on it when I take it out?
Don't earn anything on
Take a loss? No.
Sorry, Chucky. Welcome to the United States double taxation situation. The nice thing is that you I don't know if you're single or married, but you were able to take your price that you paid for your home, plus your significant improvements, plus $250,000 if you were single, or $500,000 if you were married,
as an exclusion.
And so you didn't pay any capital gains. Now, when you reinvest that money,
you get to experience capital gains.
Right. If you want growth, right? You want the money to grow, or you want it to earn interest. You got to pay taxes again. Sorry. But you don't have to pay taxes on the principal, only on the interest and dividends that are earned.
Or the growth.
Capital gains.
Good place for our listener to keep that money in the meantime while they're trying to figure out what their next move on the chessboard would be. A nice money market account.
Right. They earn nice interest.
4.5%, I believe, somewhere.
In that average.
Right.
Absolutely. So, but you will pay taxes on the interest.
There's no getting around that, but it's always nice come the first of the month. It's like Christmas morning. You see how much they've deposited in, and a home sale is a rather rather big sale. So,
congratulations
leads
to
me to
that.
believe there's a sizable amount of money, and it's nice to, let that roll downhill and gather up something while you figure out what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
I would just add to this that, there was a point made here is that the Dow Jones Industrial Average just hit 40,000, which is
Pretty exciting.
lifetime high. It wasn't the lifetime high a year ago.
It wasn't the...
Or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 10 years ago.
Remember the hat, the 36,000?
Right. The markets continue to move forward. Productivity continues to improve over a period of time. Doesn't matter what administration's in there.
They can only do so much to help or harm.
And we get to throw the bums out after 4 or 8 years. Okay? Same thing with the Congress. But the underlying economy is strong. It's always been strong. And our workforce is getting more educated, which is great. Our kids are smarter than we were. And the tools that they have available, that we have available, are greater. Continue to invest. Don't let the train pass you by.
Well, think about the situation where, the last year and a half, all the news has been bad, 2 wars, inflation, supply chain, all that. So, you get nervous, you sell, and because, you're watching the news and all the news is bad. But meanwhile, now the ship is turned, you're on the sidelines, so you're not even taking advantage as the ship is turning. Now you have to decide when to get back in. And we've just passed 40,000. So now you certainly don't feel good about buying because you're buying at the high. So this is why you stay invested for long periods of time.
Right.
Well, and also that's one of the advantages of before retirement, that you're systematically investing every single month through your retirement plan contributions. You're not going, no. You're going, they're taking your money. You're putting money in. Your employer is matching, in many cases, those dollars you're putting in. And your dollar cost averaging over a period of time. So in the bad times, you're buying shares less expensively. In the good times, those shares are becoming more valuable.
And since you're buying them less expensively, theoretically, you're able to purchase more shares, which will become more valuable over time, giving you greater wealth over time.
And you really can't get more conservative even when you move into retirement, because as we've talked about on the show many times, you could be retired longer than you were working.
So we want to use the power of what got you to retirement to power you through retirement, truly, which is the market.
Well, as you know, when we get, and we're going to get back to this, the magic formula. It's not magic. It's not a mystery.
We talk about it almost every week.
Exactly. It seems to be a mystery to other people, but it really isn't. And then obviously having your portfolio designed to deliver the returns that you need for the milk money, as we like to call it. That's what it's all about.
So, you know what else it's all about?
Our next break.
Our last break.
So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with our final segment of Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to LanceDruryLaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talking Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, thanks for tuning in here. We're in our last segment of the show. We got about 12 minutes to answer your phone calls and texts. 314-931-5877 or 84126 on the text line.
We have Rich.
Good morning, Rich.
Hello, Rich.
Hello, can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I got a quick question for you. My wife and I are thinking about retiring later this year. I'm a federal employee, so I get to keep my Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I guess that's a good thing. Do I still have to sign up for Medicare? Do we still have to do that?
Yes. You still need to sign up for your Medicare Part A and B coverage. However, you will be able to maintain your federal government coverage if you'd like to supplement your Medicare benefits. And you can do a comparison, or you can work with someone like us to do a comparison of your federal benefits. In some cases, we find that the benefits are better with the federal government, so you keep what you have. In other cases, you may find that the benefits offered privately through Medicare Advantage or the supplement are more cost effective for you, and that would be an alternative. So you have 3 choices to make as opposed to just between 2 choices. So that's great.
Now, what is it? What is it, A and B? What does that running cost in a month? Do you know?
Part A doesn't cost anything. You paid in your entire working life. Part B, based on your income, the base amount is $174 a month per person. So if you are earning in retirement less than, I believe it's $200,000, then you'll be in the base of $174 per month per person.
Okay, and then do you have to sign up for that right away when you retire? Do you have a little bit of time or what?
So my recommendation would be, if you and your wife are both 65 or over, that you sign up to meet when you retire. So if you decide to retire in June and your federal benefits run through the end of June, you'll want to sign up for a July 1st effective date, just so you have continuous coverage.
Oh, I see. Okay. So I'm basically, if I kept it, I'm dual paying for insurance, right?
Well, regardless, when you retire, if you didn't have the federal benefit, you would have to pay for Medicare. What you are doing is using the federal benefit to subsidize your Medicare benefits, because it only covers 80% of your medical expenses. Most everyone else has to choose a private option to cover that last 20%, but the federal government's given you access to cover the last 20% with their option. So you could think about it, no matter what, you'd be paying for 2 different coverages in retirement.
Right. Okay. I just wasn't sure if I had. Now, we work part-time jobs too. Is that, I still have to sign up? I'm still working that, or?
If the federal government will maintain your health care benefits when you are working part-time, then no, you don't have to sign up until you fully retire. But if they pull back your benefits, then you will want to sign up for Medicare. So you might just want to check with HR with them to clarify what you have access to. I've just seen some federal employees want to leave the federal benefits eventually, and then they haven't signed up for Medicare, and you get hit with pretty big penalties. So you just want to make sure all your bases are covered.
All right, thanks. I guess when I get ready to do that, I'll come in and talk to you guys.
We'd love to see you. Congratulations.
And thank you for the phone call.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Very good.
And our next texter writes, Walmart growth is bad for local grocers.
I'm loving the intonation.
that are getting too pricey and losing business. Target earnings report on Wednesday. They will be interesting also. They certainly will. And I always looked at Target shoppers as those who didn't want to rub elbows with the Walmart people.
I always liked Grandma called it Target.
Oh, very fancy.
It was a fancy.
Get on Target at Target.
Well, Target is they're not. Again,
I don't think they're as good of an indicator as Walmart.
No, because Walmart really has expanded their base too. And they also have gone, their online shopping ability now is just incredible. Plus they've also gone to the delivery side.
I think that there's some stores that have, Target moved to this very interesting model where their fulfillment comes from the local stores, which I thought was apparently supposed to help their bottom line. Meaning, like, if you live, for example, there's a Target Greatland right at Brentwood Commons or Brentwood Square. If you live in that area and you order something online, most likely it's going to come from that store delivered to you. So they're able to use their stores as distribution centers. It's kind of interesting.
Sounds
I
good.
always thought they should have been doing that all along. Like, why?
Why have an extra
you already
distribution
have
center?
a distribution center. It's called the store. Just send it out from that. You know what I mean? Like, why are you building another plant to,
Right.
handle this traffic? I mean, you can't tell me that you're going to sell everything in the store today. I mean, you could certainly offload some of that traffic. So I thought that was a smart, synergistic way of going about it. I just, didn't understand why they weren't doing it sooner.
We got you.
Oh, our next texter writes, I'm coming up on my first year of being on United Healthcare Medicare Advantage. My health has taken somewhat of a catastrophic turn. What would be the advantage of not staying on the plan and going to strict Medicare? So this is a unique situation. And I would say that you probably want to sit down with someone and have a conversation about what your actual medical expenses are going to be and how long they are projected to last. So, for example, if you're someone that's undergoing treatment for cancer, radiation across every single Medicare Advantage plan is 25% up to the maximum out of pocket. So you're probably going to hit your maximum out of pocket this year if you are in need of, you've received a cancer diagnosis, you're in need of treatment. Have you received a significant diagnosis that's going to be able to be cleared up within a couple of years, meaning maybe you need a heart transplant, you've had some, you're having some heart trouble, something along those lines. Let's find out what your usage is going to be to determine what direction you should go with your health care. And that's something that anyone that is licensed in Medicare Advantage and the supplements can help you do, because they will do a comparison of what you currently have versus going to the supplement. I would also say it's really going to be a timing thing for you. You have a full year to stay on the Medicare Advantage plan before going back to the supplement. Have you already spent money on your Medicare Advantage plan? We don't want to open up another bucket by then having you switch back to premium after you've already gotten into the insurance company's pocket. Let's utilize the rest of the plan year for you so you can get the most out of the benefits you've already paid for. Because if you think about it, once you've hit your maximum out of pocket, now everything's going to be covered at 100% for you. Don't let the insurance company off the hook by starting to pay another insurance company a supplemental premium just to avoid, just to get back into the supplement right away. So there are a few moving parts here that you want to consider.
Good question. Good answer.
That was a great question, and unfortunate that it would come up, but it does happen. But I would also say, when we talk about what you're choosing to supplement Medicare, we have to make the best decision in the moment with an eye towards the future. But we know that for most people, you're going to be on these plans, supplement or Medicare Advantage, for over 20 years because your life expectancy from 65 is projected to be in your late 70s at this point. So we have to look at it over a 20-year period, not just year to year. Not every year is going to be a catastrophic year for you, hopefully, which means the math should work out. You just are going to have a couple of years to make up for your not so great year.
Very good. And again, our phone lines are open. Last couple minutes of the show, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Previously, we talked a little bit about what we call our 5 keys to successful retirement planning, figuring out how to replace part of my paycheck. We know that it starts with a clear picture of what your cash flow needs are. How much money are you consuming every single month? As Rob had talked about a little earlier, one of the easy ways we do is we say how much is being deposited in your bank account while you're working and how much is left at the end of the month or at the end of the year. Are you saving to consume later, or are you saving to save? Whatever that number is, we would subtract that, of course, and come up with the net number. Are we also planning for extraordinary expenditures, things that may be one-time thing that could occur in a 12-month period, maybe like replacing a car, doing a home improvement, etc.
Or maybe there's an event coming up, a one-time event, a wedding.
There you go. And also understanding and measuring what are my reliable sources of income. How's the money going to come in? Am I requiring it to, if I'm going to have Social Security that can be available? When's the right time to choose that? I have a pension. What's the right benefit to choose on that one? How much cash flow do I need from my retirement assets to make my life work? And then as a function of, then we say we'd like to then go into what we call the faucet management stage. Strategically determining when to turn on, turn up or turn down these faucets, these revenue streams, so that we can be tax efficient and also make your money last as long as we can. Finally, I guess what we're looking then is having a portfolio that's designed to deliver the returns that you need using a 4% prudent rate of withdrawal. That's what we do. Pretty easy to do. And again, maybe the last one we think is important is a coach. Having a coach to help you out, to keep you on track, to be accountable, and to keep you accountable as well, keep them accountable. It's easy to do. Give us a call, 314-863-0008 if you'd like to come in for a coaching session. Again, 314-863-0008. We'll see you next week.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more straight talk on retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 5.